transporting the spectators to the Vrindavan Leela. We don't go directly to Vrindavan Leela. There are many structured stages, all through which the performance moves gradually from one object to another. And finally, we reach Vrindavan Leela. Vrindavan Leela is very preciously encapsulated in the performance, not easily literal. Following that, then I'm skipping regarding the discourse which is revolving around the classical theatres of India. There is a rat race as we find it now, and it has been since for many years, of including a performance in the realm of classical theatre. And the Chow dance of Seraikela, of Jagat, and this is one. They are trying to include Chow dance in the Chow, of course, is a folk performance very clearly, but the performers and the gurus of Chow dance are making efforts to include it in the realm of classical theatre. And here, what is intriguing is that the Chow of Seraikela is an example. The Chow of Seraikela has nothing to do with the Natya Shastra. It has nothing to do with Natya Shastra. But there are arguments that masters of Chow have schematically approached teaching Chow using technical terms from Natya Shastra. They have started teaching, the gurus have started teaching Chow using terms from Natya Shastra and bringing it, and they are trying to bring the Chow into the realm of the classical theatre. That is an effort which is right, which is not so much good, because it deforms the originality of the performance. This is included in Julia Hollander's well-researched, documented book. Of course, she says that there might be sharing of elements, but not straightforward linear relationship. Natya Shastra is an analytical category and using it as a tool, we can analyze different performances, more suitably the performances of India. We can study performances across the world using Natya Shastra. Classical dances of India, Kapila Vatsyayan goals are young revivals, neo-classical. And these were all founded, re-established after seeing the mural paintings, after seeing the architectures they find in the temples and all that. But, and of course, the Harappan dancing girl and broken torso, and all these things give hints to hints for the strength to be reconstructing the performance of the classical forms. But in the case of Manipur, we don't have such relics as comparable as to the Harappan civilization. Then how do we create classical forms of?
Hello, Dr. Premchand, only 5 minutes of your time.
Okay. That is the question. That is the question. Perhaps multi-civilization progressed mostly through a kind of material culture, and which are plant-based, not durable at all. Could be lasting for 300 years. Beyond that, it's not possible. So how they do inherit these performances? So I come to intangible archive. I call Laiharova as an intangible archive. It is consisted of a series of episodic dramatic enactments. These episodes are archived in the form of our repertoire. This intangible form of archive is maintained by Maidi, Maiba, and Penakomba. They are the custodians. They are the custodians. And the people are the protectors. They are protecting the heritage. What is intriguing here again is the ancient wisdom of storing collective memories, traditions, and beliefs, and transmitting them these values through repetitive acts of performance. So, in our case, it is not the mural paintings or the sculpture. It is only through performances that has been inherited from generation to generation. So, my argument is that our performances, be it classical dances, these are all on the basis of these performances inherited for generations, not on paintings or anything. So it establishes, to some extent, the antiquity of Lahore also. Systematically layered, there are systematically layered mnemonic cues, and these are stored in their body and mind system, not simply the body and mind, or not simply in the mind, but it is a system, embodied system, and these are all embodied, ingrained in the body-mind system of the performers. Ritual layouts, I don't come to this, I skip it, and reciprocal mime, I skip it. Now I come to devotional folk theatre. Devotional folk theatres. It comes after the Hindu religion. It comes along with the Hindu religion. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord Krishna persistently insists upon his worshippers to devote in his word. So he persistently insists to sing his names, to chant and sing his glories, worship him, to perform rites for him, so that this is the only way to liberate from the worldly desires, the materialistic world. So that is the instruction, and that is the instruction given by Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam. And it almost opens a floodgate of performing so many traditions of devotional performances. Then the classical theatre form, the Krishna Leelas, which came after Dukhan Leela, Ghosta Leela, Kaliya Daman, which are based on Bhagavad, Gaudila, and Chaitanya Charitamrita, are all in these lines of bhakti. These are all came to be in existence, which came to be in existence. They are all in the lines of bhakti. And now I come to Ghosta Leela. I'm not going through it. And Udukhan Leela and Gaur Leela partly, and Sumang Leela. Manipuri scholars, we trace the origin of Sumang Leela to Phagi Leela, a form of comedy done by the jesters in the royal court. And I have mentioned that Sumang Leela came to be born out of a very healthy interaction between the Phagi Leela and the Mandap Leela. And the example is that there is a character called Balbasu, and this represents a court jester, because his body is colored with gray color, and he is a comic character included in Ghosta Leela. This is the example. This interaction between this is a creative interaction. Then in Sumang Leela, we can divide it into two phases. The first phase is the phase of oral tradition with no written text. And there included Harishchandra, Savitri, Satyavan, Vairavacharan, Chandrajini, Bhagat Chandra, Samubhava, Thok Leela. These are all included here. But from 1950 onwards, Sumanila also started employing a written text. And as mentioned by many scholars, Orang Naitava, somewhere it is written, could be the first text on which a performance was based. So this is an impact from the proscenium theatre, which is traditionally based on the written text. Sumanila is an exaggeration of the commonly acknowledged level or approximation of reality in life. The words in dialogue, the dialogue, plots, acting, rendering style, relationships, these are all in exaggerated form. Much more than we experience in real life. This is the character of, in terms of acting, in terms of performance, and everything. But it attempts to voice, to say something good for the society, including and concluding. There are performances which could be classified as folk theatres, but left out for process of time. And folk theatres, performances of minor ethnic communities, is a big one, another big one left out. Lex Sanakaiwutumi has initiated a very fruitful journey for that. There are folk theatre which cannot be measured under the parameters of Aristotelian drama theatre. Then, however, its ideas, values, and framework continue to influence the Hindu religious performances. And this is and we can, devotional folk theatres are best performed. This could be because of the heavy expenses one has to incur. Also, this could be because of the changing sensibility brought by the new media technology that has affected everyone. But gorilla performances are still held at remote villages of Manipur. New young performers are also spotted. Mustalila takes place for every turn of the year when the time comes at Govindaji temple. Sumanila is still active and people love to see it, but it is nowadays financed by wealthy investors. The investors' insistence is that whatever investors should bring profitable returns. This has perhaps compromised the values inherent in the art. It has become a very expensive affair for the commoners. Its chief character is to tag the performance to the people by moving. Sumanila party takes the performances to everywhere. But for theatre, it is stationary. It is here we perform, and the audience should come. They may come or may not come. That is not a question. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Premchand. So the last presenter of this session is Professor Augam Kumar Singha. His topic is Style Psychology in Folk Literature. Style Psychology in Folk Literature.
Thank you, sir. Respected moderator and respected paper readers, distinguished audience, my dear friends and brothers and sisters. Science, psychology, and folk literature is a very broad area. But according to the situation, I have to analyze and read out very methodically. First of all, in my topic, there is a two disciplines. One is folk literature, and second is the child psychology. We know that folklore is a paradigm of cultural studies, and child psychology is the paradigm of the social sciences. Child psychology is basically based on the human mind, that means the child's mind. And folk literature is the very, very important part of the folklore. Actually, the term folk literature is coined by the students of America, basically in literature. They have an observation, and after searching in the field of the literature, they have come out a query and feedback also. They have an observation. Literature is keenly related with the human life. Life means the living. So according to their observation, we find that in the context of life, there is two phases. One is the mortal life, another is the immortal life. So mortal life is the human being, and mortal life is the culture which is closely related to the human being. And that type of culture, anthropologists stated that it is a floating culture. So that's why the folk literature and folk culture, it is like a coin. We find that coin is two pages, and if we destroy the one pages, the coin cannot invoke in the society and invoke in the practices. Like that, the folk literature and folk culture, it is a very close relationship. So, according to my analysis, literature and child psychology. Literature and child psychology is the epicenter of the literature, the epicenter of the child psychology. It is basically based on the human mind. In the Sanskrit poetics, a renowned acharya, a renowned critic, his name is Vitti Hori. He has given a sloka, no bhave no bina jagat, no bhave no bina kaiva, no bhave no bina rash. So, in Sanskrit, bhava, its meaning is the mind. So, and on the one side, the Vitti Hori again mentioned Sahita Sankit Kala Abhina. So there is a two word, one side is the Sahita and another is the Sangit. In the earlier stage, the literature, the mechanism of the literature is the Sangit. Geetam, Vaitam, Katha. There is three paradigms of the Sanskrit. So this Sangit, this paradigm of the Sanskrit is closely related to the folk literature in Indian context. So my study is basically on the human mind and child's mind. How the folk literature and the child psychology is related. So this analysis of the feedback to highlight basically in the Manipuri context. So first of all, the folk literature, there is a division, the three major divisions. First one is the folk narratives, second is the folk poetry, and third is the folk speech. So within the jurisdiction of the folk narratives, we find the myths, legend, and folk tale. And within the folk poetry, say folk songs, ballads, and folk epics are there. And in the folk speech, proverbs and riddles are there. In the child psychology, child psychology is a very, very important part of the developmental psychology. So the exponent of the child psychologists, they have their observation for the analyzing process. Looking this say scenario of the analytical process of the child psychologist, say according to my analysis, attaching with the analysis, I have divided into two phases. One side is the say first guideline of the child psychologist. Second is the second guideline of the child psychologist. In the second guideline, there is a division: cognitive, emotional, and physical. And the second form is the social, morality, and education. So, in this say format, say folk literature and child psychology, what is their relation? I have to find out in basically in the Manipuri context. All the parents of the child are also the representative of the folk society. They too, in their lives, have passed through these aforesaid stages. That means aforesaid stages mean, according to the child psychologist, they have identified who are the childs. So, seeing this say outlook of the child psychologist, I find that there is a 5 stages of the child. First stage, second stage, third stage, and fourth and fifth stage. So from say born to say 5 years age of the child, this is the area of the child they have mentioned. So according seeing this say analytical say points, analytical observation of the child psychologist, I do analyze relating to the Manipuri context. All the parents of the children are also the representative of the folk society. They too, in their lives, have passed through these aforesaid stages, that means the 5 stages. Folk literature renders its the best service to these parents in this respect when they translate into action the guidelines provided by the psychologists. This has become a tradition in the heritage of the human society. The folklorists include the genre of folk literature related with the lives of the children in the category of child literature. That means the say Bal Sahita and Shishu Sahita. During the period of the 3 months from the day of its birth, it is generally believed in the Manipuri society that the newborn child is being looked after and nursed by the Pitrai Samdaipi. So Pitrai Samdaipi is the folk deity of the Manipuri. It is closely related with the child born. The mother goddess, Pitrai Samdaipi, the mother goddess, on the 6th day from the day of its birth, as the tradition of Ipan Dhaba, the ceremonial ritual, the mother goddess is worshipped. That means the Pitrai Samdaipi is worshipped for her blessings. On the 12th day, the hair of newborn child is cropped with the Drew ritual performances in honor of the sun and the moon. Then follows the ritual of sanctification of the household and the house. All these rituals and the religious performances are related to folk literature and its development journal. It is noteworthy that the mother, at the time of birthing, her newborn child is used to sing the folk song, of which below is given one which has become customary. Ting ting chauro, nupina karingai kahoro, thabina wanglingai wanghoro, Ipa Machum Taro, Ipu Machum Taro, Chauro, Sanglo, Ting Ting Sao. This is the say ritual folk song, basically related to the say righty basis. Righty basis. This term is mentioned by the unknown Val anthropologist. This righty basis is divided into three parts: birth, death, and marriage. In that birth marriage, there is a customary of the each and every folk groups. So basing on this concept and special reference looking towards the Manipuri folk tradition, so we find that there is a song. This is the say customary tradition and related to the folk song. That's why I have previously mentioned that the folk literature and folk culture, these two paradigms is closely related with the human practice, basically in the folk society. All the forms of love that exist on the earth, that which exists between the mother and her child, is the most genuine and the purest. In this love, one selflessly sacrifices for the other. The mother can easily read, understand, and know the emotions of the child. She knows very well if her child feels thirsty and hungry, is out of sorts, is suffering from illness, is diverted from the right path in the adolescence, etc. These are the qualities that a good mother should possess, and it's expected to possess. In short, whatever the mother does to impart wisdom to her child is regarded as a part of the cognitive skill. So cognitive skill is a very important part of the say child psychologists as per their study. The chanting of hymns into the ears of the newborn child by the mother, the folk song she sings when her child is 12 days old. All these are the prayers made by the mother to the son God for the good health of the quick growth of the child. So number of say Manipuri folk songs are there. So in this context, I am not able to explain elaborately. I am come to read out the next say steps. Here we find no difference the magnitude love. That means the love in a human society, love is the very important say theme of the literature. So according to the say W.H. Hudson in his book The Study of Literature, he has mentioned that literature has a permanent theme. So among these permanent themes, love is the very important theme of the literature. So this love has the very broad area and concept of the love. So among these loves, child's and mother love is the very important, and it takes the indispensable role to promote the say folk songs and child's literature basically in the folk literature context. I have given the example in this paper and come down the next steps. Here we find no difference in the magnitude of love of a mother, be it animal or man. The child gets its wants fulfilled only from the mother, and it recognizes its mother exactly by means of the span. This is the traditional phenomenon of the each and every living beings, not only the man, each and every living beings of the earth, of the world. And next is the Manipuri. These are also found in the Manipuri folk song. Below is given a Manipuri folk song in which a mother being overcome by the instance of love and affection of her child is trying to put her child to sleep by taking the role of the singer. Tha tha thabung ton, macha morambi pobi shanam nambi ge, haibung masha amatan thadarabu. Next, tha kanana chabigni. This is the complete. And next, this analysis is that this kind of folk song is called now in Manipuri Nausumise by the Manipuri Folk Society of lullabies or nursery rhymes in English language. The genre of folk song also go hand to hand with the context. According to the contextual studies, genre of folk song are related to context. Say natural context and artificial context. This is the view of the contextual theory. Dan Ben Amos, he has divided the context. Among this context, there is a two important contexts. One is the natural context and second is artificial context. This type of folk song is related to the say natural context of the Manipuri society. It is related to the children of a community and becomes a living folk song of that folk society. Like the folklore scholars, the child psychologists also dwell on the various aspects of the child's life based on the context. In their studies, the scope of the subject matter covers from the time of pregnancy of the mother till the time the child which is born attains adolescence. They lay emphasis on how the child grow up with good and sound health, how it starts feeling dangers and adapts itself to its environment and ambience. These are dealt with under the say classification of say cultural context, social context, and socio-economic context. That the child psychologists prove the importance of folk song by pinpointing the role it plays in imparting the knowledge of human life to the children according to the stages of their growth is evident from the folk song mentioned above.
Sir, only 5 minutes of your time are left.
Okay, sir. So these are the say elements of the folk song. Likewise, the Manipuri folk narratives, myths and legends, and folk tales are there. In the myths, the major three kinds of the Manipuri myths narratives. Myths in the destruction, myths in the origins, in Manipuri like Sem Nongsing Bagi, like Dingi Wadi, etc. These are also closely related with the child's life and folk tales. Folk tales also in Manipuri folk tale studies, we find the 7 categories of the folk song. And among these folk tales, the moral tales is the treasure of the moral tales we find the treasure of the Manipuri moral tales has a lot of folk tales. So in that folk tales, these are the closely related with the child's life and child's education, child's practices for giving the moral values of the child's life. Likewise, folk speech, proverb and riddle also. Proverb and riddle also. So seeing these all these analysis, I have a very tiny findings of this paper. We have acquired a broad idea of folk literature and its features. There is a close relationship between the contributions of the several features of the folk literature and the Manipuri society and its life system, which from time to time a route to be undertaken with the firm steps. Just a water, when filled in a container, takes its shape and gets adjusted. So also the framework of the folk literature and its various characteristics get adjusted with the various stages in a man's life. The thought and perception of life of a person during his time is like a straight route. The perception of the people who walk down this road that he saw and felt without any twists and turns is explicit. When the water of a river hits its source, it creates the waves over its surface. The role of folk literature is to see that the wave of flow is the downstream. The folk literature is culture. Folk literature is literature itself. Say chant, viral, etc. After critically examining how folk literature has contributed fruitfully in emblazing the thoughts and emotions of children to develop in the full blossom, I am reminded of the words of the anthropologist A.L. Groeber. Understanding of most certain explanation not only of specific culture but also say of cultural elements and pertaining that transcend specific culture. From this word of the anthropologist, we come to know that culture and literature render help to human life at different stages by nurturing every step in life with suitable values and aspects of that. Thank you.
Seminar, I announce these 4 papers are open for discussion. So, any question, comment, or clarification from the audience side? Yeah. Please. One request. Please don't put comments in the long comments in the context of the questions. Please put direct questions only, so that we may not waste time. Hello. Ojati, buat pemikir betul. Kilo. Lain tunggu dulu. Enggak, lain tunggu dulu.
Please state your name and everything.
Name Dr. Kriti Singh. Topics are highlighted, which is very interesting. By moving plans are proceeding tradition and at the same time to say very interesting one. Something I would have really there, but after Torah, do you think that folk literature and in folk type never come to the classical stage of literature, that they will be recognized in all parts of India. You will tell me, don't read about. And another question is, who invented the script? Is it done by the Bodo people, or is it done by some scholars who are in Bengali or Assamese? About the Indian literature, we like to throw that on this point. And Dr. President says about it. They have had, but you should see that there are so many organizations like Ukraine that have participants that is people with institution to take insurance. So he has to see his out period of this benefit. About that Balbasu, he is only found in Nada Pancharatra, that's the ability. But in the early times, there was strict discipline because like that about the point. And one point is there about our folklore, I will test, I mean, it will be tested by time and it will be successful. West Bengal, the next in Pakistan was Bangladesh, many people are sent to London for training. And they have been enough purpose for
Please put direct question.
Question is that one question. About the
We can't grasp your question.
The question-
Right question.
My question is that do you think that Bodo language will come to a stage of a classical language, or it will be what we do in your part of India? This is the question.
Yeah. The question wasn't very clear, but finally he asked one thing, it's a classical language or something like this. Yeah, there are so many languages in India which are claiming nowadays as classical. The southern languages, Tamil, Malayalam, and recently Odia. They are claiming their language as to be classical, but we can't claim our language to be classical language. It was in the stage of an oral language. It was in the stage of an oral language for so many hundreds and thousands of years. But only in the last 100 years, Bodo language has developed as a written language. And the Bodos have started having written literature only after 1915. That was a book on Bodo customary law. And the first Bodo magazine was published in 1920. And prior to this, there are some missionary works. Dictionary, collection of folk tales, where they have included examples of some Bodo folk tales. So we say that it was basically an oral language, but now it is developing now as a written language, but not a classical language. Is it okay, sir?
Any other question?
My name is Dr. K. Chan, one teacher. মই বিচাৰিছোঁ আমাৰ প্ৰফেচাৰ মেধি ছাৰ আৰু আমাৰ বড়ো ছাৰক বহুত ভালকৈ পেপাৰ দুটা ওলাইছোঁ মই থেংক ইউ তথাপি মই বিচাৰিছোঁ আপোনাৰ বিহু ডান্সত নাম্বাৰ অফ পাৰ্টিচিপেণ্ট কিবা কি ৰেষ্ট্ৰিক্টেড আছে কি না আর যেনেকা আমার মণিপুরীর ধাবলি চৌকি এটা কথা চাও আমার মণিপুরী ধাবলি চৌকি এলাকা রেষ্ট্রিক্টেড নাই পার্টিসিপেন্টটো কিন্তু মই দেখিছোঁ কিবা কি ষ্টেজত আপোনাৰ বিহু ডান্স কৰিছে তাতে কিবা কি 5জন 7জন 11 এনেকা হৈ আছে কি কাৰণে আর এটা কথা আপনার বিহু ডান্সত যে ছোৱালীবিলাকে যে ডান্সটো কৰিছে তাৰ পিছত ইণ্ডিকেশ্যন বা চিম্বলিকটো কি আছে অলপ বুজাই দিলে আমি ভালকৈ জানিব লাগিব থেংক ইউ
Thank you so much, sir. Though you actually raised the question in Assamese, but I'll try to speak in English so that audience also understands. First of all, sir, this is as Professor Bora said, this is a very old tradition. So earlier, the young boys and girls used to dance in the field under the trees. So there was no restriction of number of performers, number of members, etc., etc. But since it has started coming to the stage performance, definitely there will be some restriction. Time restriction, there is number of performers restriction, then dress also, and even when there is a competition, even the organizers also give some stipulated numbers that so many only. And first of all, the stage is a limited space. There will be not only dancers, there will be drummers, there will be the other performers also, playing musical instruments. So definitely there will be restriction. So in some performance maybe 5, some maybe 7, like that. So it is not compulsory that there will be particular stipulated number of performers will be there in Bihu dance. Secondly, as I said, it is entirely the festival itself is an agricultural based festival. Definitely in the dance forms, definitely the symbols of reproduction, agricultural reproduction as well as human reproduction will be there. Then most important thing is the Bihu songs are songs of love and emotion. The boys and girls express their emotions. In earlier days, even the boys and girls, they selected their life partners, so Bihu songs. So definitely there will be these things or emotions are expressed in Bihu songs and also in Bihu dance forms. I hope I could do something. Thank you, sir.
Any other more? Any other more question? Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Dr. Y. Tua Devi, and I belong to the Department of English, Then College of Science, So my question is to Sir Amit Kumar, in your topic, you have never mentioned about the epical poem regarding Boro. Okay. So is there a possibility of epical poem in Boro? And the second question is about the genre of Kirtana. Okay. Is it really in the folk literature of the Boro? Okay.
Which one?
Kirtana. Kirtana is there, So is there a possibility of Kirtana being in the folklore of Boro culture? Another one is that our Sir Amit Kumar, he never mentioned about the epical poem being in Boro literature. Okay. So is there any epical poems, Epical poems. Yeah, epic is there, Okay? Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Exactly, we don't have epic poems, but now the Buddha people claim that there is one there's a verse collection by Biguram Boro. It is purely on the basis of oral traditional verse. Now it is documented and recreated by a particular poet, Biguram Boro, and some critics say that it is oral derived verse. And the Bodo critics and literary critics try to say that it's something like a Bodo epic poem, but based on oral tradition. No, it is based on oral tradition. It is based on the oral songs and verses which were performed in the context of the Karai, this traditional religion, part of religion, and the narratives are there. It's mostly related to the Shiv god, which is Batu, Barai Batu, and who is also sometimes said as equivalent to Lord Shiva. But so many debates are on whether he is the same person, same deity or not. And about the second question, we don't have a genre like Kirtan, but we have a new genre developed like Aros Methai. Aros Methai like Assamese Nam, and Kirtan in Bangla and other languages. But in Assamia, this is Nam is there. Women singing, prayer singing, and like this on the basis of the oral devotional songs, oral mantras and devotional songs. The Bodo followers of Batu religion have developed a new genre, which they call Aros Methai. Aros Methai means prayer songs. But in order to make you understand, I use the term Kirtan. It's a Kirtan, it is Aros Methai, but now developed on the basis of these genres in Assamese and other languages.
Just I want to add something what Professor Boro said. That's the difference between Nam and Kirtan. Kirtan is mostly sung by the men folk, playing whole. But Nam is Nam is most of the men also, but women also. Men, women. There are women groups. Earlier it was a male group, male performers mainly. Now women have also started coming up, but they are also playing, and they are using that, that with the Nagra. Nagra means a small, big one and one small one. But Sankirtan is mostly, and Nam could be of any. It is not that only about God. Could be some other theme also they may take. But Sankirtan is mainly devotional, singing the attribute of quality attributes of the God. So Nam is a new. It's not a new. It was started by Shankardev. Vaishnava said that great Vaishnava said Shankardev. But now it was earlier. It was a male performance. Now it has women are also coming. There are a number of women performing groups are there, and these are these. It is not Sankirtan, but it is, we call it Nam, and it is mainly that playing the Nagara and you clapping with and cymbal. Big cymbals are playing. Big cymbals they play, they dance with the cymbals. It is a fantastic scene to see, witness, Nam performance.
Any other question?
Wangharapam Pirendra. Your name, Umada.
Name, please.
Wangharapam Pirendra. Aina, Odan Matra Aina Handra. Odagi Pisai Kunda Biwadi. Ting Chow. Tata Tabung Tor. Monsieur Ozata Aina Handra. Manipuri Lon Kioina Handra. Mati Lon Handra. Thank
you, Sheriff. Your query is basically based on the Manipuri folk song. These folk songs are the say ritual folk song. It is treated as a ritual folk song in the Manipuri folk song context. So, in literary context, basically in folk literature, language and literature is closely related. Without language, literature cannot be exist. That's why language has the two forms. One is the speaking language, another is the written language. Folk song is specially related to the verbal language, and it is closely related with the social context also. And it is basically based on oral tradition. In the oral tradition, the using language is the community's lang language. According to the Ferdinand de Saussure, he has divided into two languages. One is the lang language, another is the Perol language. So, lang language is the mother tongue language. It is accepted by all the folk members of the community. So that's why this type of singing is basically related to the community's language. That means the home language. This is my answer.
Dr. L. Anand.
My question is Professor Anil Bora. Sir, you mentioned in your Boro language is now a policy is upgrade to higher secondary and graduate and postgraduate level, and that policy is how you people means Boro people's policy make off. Kindly please that you brief to us. It seems that in our language is 1992. 8-7 is included, but now our language is medium of instruction is only up to class 10. So in your language is written form is introduced in 1915, and how your language is grown up very fast. It is I also very surprised. And lastly, your language Bodo Sahitya Sabha is make prepare the 40,000 words terminology with CSTT, Central Government. That also I know. This is please kindly elaborate the how met of the policy. And one another question is, Sir Mehdi, and you mentioned in that Bihu culture, the cultivation is coming from the Southeast Asian, Ahom Kingdom. And in this visual festival, the people worship the goddess Lakshmi. And Southeast Asian people introduced the cultivation and how related the Hindu goddess Lakshmi and the South Asian culture. That is my query. Thank you.
Last question.
Yeah.
I think it should be not of language used in up to class 12. Then
Thank you.
later.
Thank you for the question. Actually, I summarily commented on it because our language is first introduced as a medium of language in the primary stage in 1963. 1963, it happened only after rigorous movement by our people, motorcycle Sabha, then student organizations, and gradually, Bodo language became the medium of instruction up to class 10. Now only in the new education policy, because new education policy says that our children should learn in the mother tongue up to class 5, then class 8, then you can go for other language, other medium, English or other medium, traditional language. But it says up to 8 only. After 8, it is voluntary. So there is a long debate among our people. So some movements were also there because our language was already made of instruction up to class 10. Now it has been accepted by Assam government that it will be made of instruction up to class 12. It has been accepted by the government of Assam, and our people are preparing for textbooks. And already it is in 4 or 5 universities, undergraduate course, major course, and PG course in universities. And there are research programs in all the universities. These things are there. So this class 12 thing came after the NEP, New Education Policy.
For the second question,
Thank you, sir. Your question is quite pertinent. Sure, I do agree. First of all, I'll tell you, when the Ahoms came in the 13th century, 1200 something, 26 or like that, 13th century, when they came from Myanmar, the Arjun Burma, they came alone. The legend is that only 7 people came. And there is another legend is that they came from heaven with a golden leather. So these are legends. But the actual thing is that only very limited number of people came. At the time, the place, today's Assam, it was a small kingdom. Sujya kingdom, Dimasa kingdom, Kasari, etc. Moran, Matok, etc. Small groups, Moran, etc. So they conquered everything and they united them and brought. But what happened? They married local women. They did not bring any women folk with them. They came very limited number of male people came and they married to local women and they accepted the local culture, local tradition. First of all. Secondly, that concept of Lakshmi. Lakshmi is a Sanskrit word. We call it Lakshmi. That concept of Lakshmi is there in most of the tribal people in Assam locally. They call it Maina. Boros call Maina. And what is that concept? That is the agriculture for farming people. The paddy, the rice is the main thing for them. The main god is for them. So the concept of goddess Lakshmi, we call Lakshmi, not Lakshmi actually. Just to make more clear, I use the word Lakshmi or Lakshmi. But we use it Lakshmi, Adara. Lakshmi is a symbolic word. First of all, symbolic word to denote the paddy. To that rice cultivation that they do. In the rainy season, they plant in the autumn season the plants starts coming up, and this is the Kati Bihu that I could not explain. The Kati Bihu is another one kind of bihu out of the 3 types of bihu. It is celebrated. It is not actually celebration. We celebrate Bahag Bihu and Mag Bihu, but we observe Kati Bihu. Kati Bihu is a kind of religious rituals where the women folk they go to the field, they light earthen lamps in the root of the paddies, also in the courtyard in front of the Tulsi plant. And they consider this Lakshmi, the Tulsi, as well as the paddy as Lakshmi. The idea is that, first of all, they praying that these paddy saplings are coming up in the month of Kartik. Then it will grow up, it will ripe, and in the month of Posh or March, we will be able to harvest a good harvesting. That's a praying. Secondly, another thing is that they also put some tall lamp called Akash Bandi. These are to show that during at least in this time, many insects comes and harmful insects and pests come and attack the paddy fields. The idea was that to drive away the insects. Now thirdly, how the concept of Lakshmi are used. And again, when in the 16th century great Assamese saint Shankardev, he introduced the Vaishnavite religion. When the Vaishnavite religion came, he introduced the concept of Bhagavad Gita and other elements of Hindu scriptures also came to fore. So goddess Lakshmi, we use to so that everybody can understand. If I say Lakshmi, it will not be many people will not understand. So Lakshmi is a symbolic thing to denote the paddy, rice. Paddy is the main lifeline, right? For us, rice is the lifeline. Without rice, we cannot survive. And for a farmer, a good rice harvest or paddy harvest is the biggest achievement for him for the whole year. So Lakshmi is symbolically used to denote a good harvest and for a good paddy cultivation. I hope it's okay.
Any other more questions?
One question, please. The last one.
Please put direct question.
Yes, sir. My question goes to Professor N. Premchand Singh. Sir, you have told us that Sumang Lila or Sumang cannot be measured under Aristotelian concept of tragedy of comedy. The question is, how can you say it?
Sumang Lila is, we view it now, is purely Aristotelian. It's purely because there is a linear construction of the narrative, plot-wise, it is written, and the performance is based on this particular written text. But the difference is, but the question why we still call Sumang Lila as a folk performance is the question. That is the text. That is the text. But when it is performed, the performers, the team of the Sumang Lila party takes liberty to deviate from whatever written in the text. So there is a tacit understanding between the playwright of Sumang Lila and the performers. In the case of stage, whatever written is strictly followed as a tradition, stage tradition. But in the case of Sumang Lila, they have enough power, enough liberty to deviate from whatever written. Could be even the plot. So it is, they enjoy the freedom of oral tradition. The script is only the guiding principle. The context of performance can change the plot also. For example, there are so many cases of these deviations. For example, For example, so when a Sumangila team was invited at a place around Bishanpur, it was hosted by the team of the bridegroom for the bride and her friends. And unfortunately, there were parents of the bride assembled, her friends, her Laikai friends all gathered. But Sumangila comes to a very tragic ending with the death of the main character. And the father of the bride finds it very difficult to bear with the ending. He comes out and requests and makes a request to the team. This is organized for the welfare, for the betterment of my daughter, for her future. So if it ends with a good ending, that will be very good for us. Is there any way out to make it out? Then Sumangila team deviates and starts constructing another plot that ends with a good ending. So it is deviated. So in other folk performances also, then for example, the Lai Harova is consisted of so many episodes. When we bring in the Aristotelian concept of drama theater, it is not applicable. Take for example, in the case of no theater of Japan, there is no country, there is no plot. Punavenki, for example, is highly ritualistic. So we cannot pick up theaters or drama from indigenous traditions with the yardstick we find in the Aristotelian concept of drama theater. That is the point I wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Premchan, for giving a clear answer to the question. Any other? I think no more question will come. Now it is already 4. Is that okay? I think this will be the last question.
I will be the last. I am Dr. Wangkarapur Mema. My question goes to Dr. Premchan. So my question is that much simple. That is, you have mentioned that Meitei culture is intangible. So what it sense? I mean, whether it is in the positive or in the negative sense. And then one more question. And then further, in another stage, you have mentioned that Meitei culture is planned, not a permanent one. Meitei culture is planned, not a permanent one. What it means? I heard so. If I am not wrong.
Is it written down there?
I have just that. If I am not wrong, I have heard in this way. But the first question, whether it is in the negative or negative sense or in the positive sense, intangible.
It is very much in the positive sense. Very much. Intangible and tangible are two different measures with which we look at the culture, material culture. Ours is intangible compared to, say, the culture we find in other parts of India. We don't have much relics or much data comparable to, as I mentioned, Harappan civilization or temple architecture. Perhaps it is because our culture literally based on perishable items, must be, which are plant-based. For example, we have representations of deities in the Naiharova temple, Komai marks. It is a late invention of which started either 14th or 15th century. But the tradition is that it is made of a contraption made of bamboo strips of bamboo, and covered with cotton cloth, which is so much perishable. We have to change it again and again for every turn of the year. So our tangibility is that, likewise, the performance which exists in the Laharoba, this itself, this is transmitted through performance. Written text on performance started coming up, I think, with Ojapula Chandra's Amati Laharoba. Earlier to that, it has been a matter of transferring orally and also practically. And this reciprocal, this is mimetic performance, my Pishun Saro, Naton Saro, these are all a matter of teaching the participants to continue the tradition. To continue. So Laharoba is strictly, it does have strict ritual laws which are necessarily to be followed, because these laws maintain the sanctity of the tradition, but it doesn't leave. It is not a matter of materials and grab in the form of stone sculpture, but it is something engraved and or archived in live form, in performance, through performance. That is why we call it intangible. I think.
Thank you. I think there is no more question now. So, as for the formality of the session, so let me give a small comment on the performance of the presenters. First of all, I thank all the 4 presenters for presenting their papers nicely and in the given time also. But one thing which I would like to suggest to them and also to the future presenters, that almost all the 4 presenters do not go by the text. They read only a small portion of the text written and they make comment. That's also okay. So there is one demerit for such method of reading paper. Only in the case of audience who has got copies of papers in their hand already may not get the real taste of the papers presented here. And since they have the copies with them, they can read it by themselves in their leisure time in the home. So only at that time they will get the real taste of the papers. So all these papers are good, but by the paucity of time, we cannot give enough time to read the whole text between the lines. So they try to cover the whole text by waiving some major portions and the important paragraphs. That is why this defect is there. Okay, they have presented the papers very nicely in the general way. Anyway, again, for me, it is not my right to say anything about the lectures given by other scholars in the inaugural session also. But let me add something to what Professor Bihari Singh and Director Vilas had mentioned something about the nature and the relatedness of folklore to literature. Nature of folklore. So many people are very much confusing about the nature of folklore, as Professor Bihari has already clarified. But let me also add something, not contrary, but to the same context. Folklore, as we know, is also mentioned by Director Vilas, that it was first coined by one William John Thoms So English is a funny language. Some people will pronounce it tom, tom, tom. Any way they let them do whatever they like in giving this pronunciation. T-H-O-M-A-S. T-H-O-M-S. Only toms, not with A. Tom, tom, tom. These toms coin a compound, a section compound, not Anglo-Saxon, section only, section compound word, folklore, to mean something that is not written and belonging to some specific group of people. And he also wrote a letter to the editor of a journal entitled Athenaeum, in which he requested the editor to use the term folklore for a kind of tales used by the old people, unlettered people, illiterate people, not written. And the editor, after many years, adopted what he suggested. And after this, old people came to know this kind of literature is folklore. We don't know whether it is really literature or not, because literature means written. And in this context, let me also mention one thing. South Indian scholar, eminent scholar, Mr. Anantamurthy, A.R. Anantamurthy, in one of his speeches given in the IGNOU Silver Jubilee Lecture Series, he mentioned that folklore means the lore of the unlettered people, not lettered, not using letter, not writing, not knowing writing, and not also using writing. So not related in any case to writing. So it is the lore means tale, story of the unlettered people. Who are they? This indicates that folklore lies with the rural people, countryside people, not with the city people. Then regarding the definitions of folklore, there are so many controversial definitions, as Professor Bihari has already mentioned, but some of them are of the opinion that folklore is also found in written things already. This is given by some scholars as their opinion. But really speaking, without orality, no orality, there is no folklore. As Professor Bihari has mentioned, it is also mentioned by some eminent scholars. So one important definition of all the other definitions, one important one is given by Webster's New Collegiate Dictionary, 8th edition, where it is defined as the great proportion of members of a people, the great proportion of members of a people that determines the group character, and that tends to preserve a characteristic form of civilization and customs, arts, crafts, legends, traditions, and superstitions from generation to generation. This is very much a pertinent definition, succinct, very precise, very clear. Though short, precise in form, it is very clear and very meaningful. So from this ends, we can deduce that, as Professor Bihari has already mentioned, folklore relates to only unlettered, unwritten things, stories. No, let me finish.
No, that is the old definition.
No, okay.
No, I am a folklorist.
No, you have mentioned, sir, that is I am following. But
I am a literate. I got folklore.
No. Let me finish
I
first.
got belief, tradition, fight.
No. It should be.
Anandamurti is a bother. I will tell you.
No. Let it be so. But you can't deny what is given by.
I deny. I challenge.
No. You can't deny those Western dictionary, dictionary. You can't deny. The definition given by this dictionary is very much clear. Okay, I appreciate your definition, but I am not contrary to your view. But my question is, no, I am coming to the assimilation. Let me finish fast and then you can claim.
To the unlettered and lettered people.
No, it is given by him. It is not my. This is not my opinion. I mention opinion of some scholar.
Educated.
No, it is not your right to argue against me because it is not my opinion. It is, I am mentioning this opinion of some scholar, not of mine. Okay, please, let me finish. Then, yeah, some modern scholars and researchers are of the view that this folklore is very much related to literature and both forms are same in the common. Some scholars are there, but we come to the conclusion that folklore has continuity with the past and also connectivity with the present. So we go following the postmodern concept of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. So you may be literate, learned, but some people may not be literate, learned. But I say this kind of tales, no literature earlier, it was in the form of tales. It is given by Jacob Grimm and his brother William Grimm. They collected tales, Deuce mythology, German mythology, and in the book Kinder und Hausmärchen, children's household tales, popularly translated into Grimm's fairy tales. Not only tales, fairy tales. Why fairy? Fairy means supernatural, superstitious. So all these things come together, ultimately, finally they come to the conclusion of assimilation. Both parties are of the same opinion ultimately. So literature is related to folk, and folk is the root sometimes. Some literature, you see in the Indian classics like Jataka tales, Panchatantra, Katha Charita Sagara, and many others of ancient time. There were tales which subsequently are found in Jacob's collection. And the writing came to this earth in between 3000 and 4000 BC, first in Egypt and Mesopotamia. And before that, in some countries like India, ancient country, we had some unwritten form of tales. Then written forms came later on. But only Grimm's and tomes, they are of 18th, 19th century scholars. Before them, thousands of years before them, this folk existed. But in what form? In unwritten form. If these were in unwritten form, the producers, the maker of the tales might not be literate or literate one. They may not know, might not know writing. That is why we take them to be unlettered. This is according to some scholars, not mine. So my mind is just to supplement, not to contradict you. So ultimately we have come to the conclusion that now opinions of many various scholars on the definition of folklore and the folk literature have come to the common parallel. They have the same opinion. They agree on. Both are related. Literature is also related to folk. Because we have continuity with the past and the connectivity with the present. Present and the past are connected by this compound, subtle compound, folklore. This is the question. So I don't have any other argument or any other opinion. Then these are not mine, these are propounded by many other scholars regarding this folk. This is what I want to say. So today's papers all are related to folk in their own arena. Bihu folk songs, Assamese folk songs, Bodo folk songs, Bodo literature, and Bodo folk poetry. So many things are there. In Professor Nani's paper also we have seen, we have heard of many Manipuri folk songs, Manipuri folk laments in our tales. Dr. President also mentioned something about folk theatre. What kind of a proscenium theatre is, particularly in proscenium theatre, without any arrangement or preparation. Ready made overhead preparation for the performing of the theatre. the Laharopa, we don't have hall or anything. For this performance of Laharopa, we don't prepare anything. So this is for proscenium, he has mentioned in his paper. So folk is very much common in our human being. Folk means people. As we all know, lore means tale. Tale of the people. In the form of book, it is very new. Writing has come newly, recently. In the country of this Greece, it was coming in the heliographic script, something like symbols and what we call lines and others. So it was developed later on, gradually. So now folklore is used not by unlettered people, used by lettered people like these scholars, yourself and myself. So folk has become now the property of literate ones. Those unknown illiterate people do not know what folk is and what folk is doing and what folk means. It is only the scholarly people, they are knowing the meaning, the scope, the value of folk. So they apply this to literature. Literature came later on. Folk was already 4,000, 5,000 years ago, folk tales were here. So these are the tales of the Buddhism and these Panchatantra tales. All these tales have come in the collection of Grimm in a slightly different form. No defective, but similarities are there. So that is why nowadays this seminar is very much in time. In conducting such such seminar, we should keep our view on this backdrop. Folklore in the literature. The main two words here, folklore in the literature. It is vis-a-vis. One side is not stronger than the other. Folklore is also the same with literature. It can be parallel. So, which one is earlier? This is also a question. Which came later? Which came first? In folklore, though not written, there were elements of writingness. Though not written, there was element of writing. Memory. Writing is done just to make memory. We cannot keep memory without writing. Writing keeps our memory in the sharp and the as it is. That is why we record. What is the meaning of record? Just to keep memory of the same things. So, though folk was not written, folk tales were not written, there were some chances of keeping these tales in memory. So, these memory serve the function of writing, as if we keep document. So, in one sense, it can be interpreted in different ways, like this. So, these two things, as you have found out, in the backdrop, in the topic of this seminar, is very pertinent, very meaningful, both in the folklore and the literature. Both are the same, both are equally strong, valuable in these days of our time, in these days of our civilization. They are very much areas of civilization, custom, tradition. Literature is also area of tradition and custom. And folklore also is the same, doing the same. Their functions are the same. So we can't differentiate them very separately. This is what I would like to present to you all. Not of mine, it is after some scholars' view. Whether you agree with them or not is up to you. But my question, my idea is that I am mentioning this according to them. And my own comment is that nowadays these two things have come to the same life, to the same function. So one is not more important than the other. They are the same. This is quite okay. Thank you very much.
Dato' saya Forum Manipur na Department of Agriculture ki semester ki tiangbang ga mari lenana January Dance Academy ka kusan nazaraga pangthok saba folklore and literature haiba Nemini yoba seminar ki masasanda koi siar lobi riba kai kumnajar riba professor case kunjosi bajabu kai kumnabot sari hagat potong dokcari nana nace papi khiba wajasing kai kumnajar riba professor Anil Bora Professor Mrinan Medhi Dr. M. Premsan Professor Nani Kumar kai kumnajar riba wajasing na sasangi si papi khiba gidamukta kai kumnabot sari hagat potong dokcari loinana masih seminar asida wahang hambiduna seminar susau yabiriba kai kumnajaribi wajasing pasu kasih orang mai kai dagi ikong nonja bagalona kai kunamut sari thang potong dok sari masih ki ahan basusan nasi si madrasa ki ya blojarga koi mata nasida isanjare hayen November ki tarani thoi thang janamita ani suba session amasung suba session koi manipuri lon da oina pabi ga do ba scholarship ki oina koi thamjari masih ayu ki pung mapan makhai ta ba matam da koi mapun sida koi haujani aduna kai kumnajari ba delegates singna amasung baidi singna matam sa na lebirak kana hariba seminar sigi ani suba amasung suba session na sida saru yamina budamakta nalukna Ningsingjari masuk ikai kuna utsari loinana masigi seminar asida ho pataki hujik phawasi ngam thagi ai makhambiriba kwai punamapu amukahana ikok no jabaga loinana thaga no phongtok jari punamapu khurum jari